while. So I apologize that I have not been here for the live streams as much as was perhaps promised or implied by me. I know, but I have some projects in the works that are big and unfortunately have nothing to do with you guys, and I have been swamped with those. So I'm here now, and I will do my best to be more consistent, but you guys kind of know how it goes, I think. So when I posted on Instagram this week about the live stream, the most requested, hi Billy, the most requested topic was how to get better sleep. And as someone that hasn't always slept well in her life, mostly because of just like obsessing about, you know, regrets and past mistakes and my own behavior and such in a way that's, I don't know, only I can, maybe. I definitely sympathize. There have been many nights where I've woken up and laid there wide awake or can't fall asleep. So let's try to get this figured out because there's a lot that you can do. Sleep, though, like sleep in general, so many factors go into creating a good night's sleep. It's not just about, you know, is your bed comfortable? It's also about your diet, if your diet is nutritionally adequate, like if you're getting enough calories, if your diet is nutrient dense enough, if you're getting enough good quality plant-based proteins, which you shouldn't have to worry about as long as you're eating adequate calories. But there's a lot of mistakes that people can make on their diets, especially when they're just transitioning, which can wind up making sleep be a little bit more difficult for them. So I say nutrient dense as much as possible because that'll make sure that you don't have any big gaps. And making sure that you're eating enough is really important too, because a lot of people, especially when they're trying to lose weight, you know, they restrict calories, and if you're not getting enough food, if you go to bed hungry, it's more likely that you're going to be laying there wide awake because your brain is just sitting there waiting for calories to show up, right? Hold on one second. Does potassium have anything to do with good sleep? I haven't heard too much specifically about potassium, but that's a really good question. That's something that I might look into a little bit more. The main nutrients that we hear a lot about as far as sleep goes, we hear a lot about magnesium, and it does benefit us that people who are eating a vegan diet, especially people who are eating a whole plant food vegan diet, tend to have much higher levels of magnesium than people who are eating a standard American diet, simply because we're getting a lot more dark green leafy vegetables, which are super high in magnesium. There are also other foods like hemp seeds and a lot of other seeds and nuts that are nice and rich in magnesium, so that's not really a nutrient that I feel like if you're eating a well-planned vegan diet that you really need to worry about supplementing too much. But most people, I have heard, on a standard Western diet are deficient in magnesium, which can definitely cause issues with sleep. So if you feel like you could be one of those people or have that nutritional gap for whatever reason, there's, as far, like, to the best of my knowledge, the best that I've heard, there's not a lot of risk associated with supplementing magnesium. The ways that I like to make sure that I'm getting enough magnesium are obviously like dark leafy green vegetables and through my diet, but I also have some liquid magnesium drops that I actually bought them when I was having a particularly heinous bout of insomnia, and it had another cause, which I figured out later, but I had them laying around, so I just started adding a few drops of magnesium to my water. So I add my mineral drops, and then I just add a few more drops of magnesium, and as it turns out, it really makes me love the taste of the water even more. So that can help you get a little bit more. There's also Epsom salts, which you can put into your bath water and have a nice soak, and then that magnesium will go through your skin and get into your body that way. And as someone who loves baths, but does not have a bathtub, I have to say, I miss my bath time soaks. when I used to throw myself and all of my oranges into the tub, and I would float around with my oranges while I peel them and eat them. It's the best thing ever. Now, a lot of people when they supplement with magnesium, they say like, oh, you should have some calcium with that magnesium to help them absorb. That's where I tend to draw the line, because calcium supplementation, it has some risks, especially high amounts of calcium. And the amounts of calcium we as Americans get in general is honestly much higher than it needs to be. Like Neil Barnard of the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine, he maintains that like 650, is it milligrams or micrograms? I apologize, I can't remember. I think, anyway. He says it's 650 micrograms. Shit, I wish I remembered that off the top of my head. 650 on the calcium, you don't need more. A lot of people say like 1,000, 1,200. You don't need that much, like it doesn't prove to be effective. Yeah, milligrams, thank you, Andrea. Make me question myself, thank you. 650 milligrams of calcium per day, you don't need more. Okay, thank you for helping me with my little brain fart. So I wouldn't advise supplementing calcium with the magnesium if you do decide to supplement magnesium. I'm so weird about supplements, I'm sorry. Another supplement that a lot of people talk about is melatonin, and I've already seen it come up a couple of times in the chat. People asking about my thoughts on melatonin. So, at the same time that I bought my liquid magnesium, I also bought a liquid melatonin supplement. And melatonin is technically a hormone, so I'm not a big fan of supplementing with hormones. Good morning from London. Thanks for joining us. I'm not a big fan of supplementing with hormones just because one hormone always affects like 75 other hormones down the line. So I bought that and I use it for kind of like emergency purposes. Like if I'm laying there and I just absolutely cannot fall asleep, I'm gonna take some melatonin. The other time when it can be useful is if I've gotten into a pattern of not being able to fall asleep at night for whatever reason. So it's like I'm just laying there wide awake and it's taking me half an hour to fall asleep. Then I will, it is 2 p.m. in Hawaii, then I will take some melatonin and just kind of knock myself out every night at the same time in a really good routine for, like 5 days. And I'll be really, really good with all of my other sleep practices, which we're going to be talking about later on. And I'll be really good, and that'll help to like get my body into a better sleep routine. And then I stop the melatonin or wean myself off. Does that make sense? I did just see someone mentioned passion flower as well. That is another great herbal sleep aid. I do prefer the... Sorry, my dog decided to go bark. I do prefer the herbal sleep aids. So things like valerian and kava, hops. I really love chamomile and lavender tea together at the same time before bed. Those are all really helpful and really gentle ways of encouraging yourself to fall asleep. There's also the tart cherry juice that a lot of people use, and I think that this is a great idea because the tart cherry juice induces your own body to produce its own melatonin, which is much better than supplementing with exogenous melatonin, yeah? So take the tart cherry juice. I would use it in much the same way of using it consistently at the same time every night, about half an hour before you're ready to go to bed. All of these herbs can be about half an hour before you're ready to go to bed, and you get your body into a good sleep routine where it gets the idea like, hey, at 9:30 every night we're gonna get ready for bed. Does that make sense? I hadn't heard that about hamstring stretches. Golden Tree says hamstring stretches can help you go to sleep well. I haven't heard that, but hey, I'm always down for a good hamstring stretch. Okay, so I will get my phone all done. I got a new cover for my phone. Very plain and blah. I hope you all like it. Let's see here. I'll go onto my YouTube and get hooked up to my own live stream so I can answer your all's questions more easily. No, I don't want to try YouTube Red. Thanks. Where am I? Hold on, I apologize for this. There I am.
I think there's a way to be comfortable and be elegant at the same time.
Shush. Okay, skip out. Skip. And there's the live chat. Okay, no, I don't want to try YouTube Red. Stop asking me. Good God. How bad is snoozing? Oh, you mean what I love doing in the morning where you, like, wake up and then you don't? And then you're just hit the snooze button 37 times? Yeah, it's not great. Like, you mostly want to be really consistent with your sleep routine, right? I hope that makes sense. So, like, say I want to wake up at 6 in the morning, but then I end up just rolling around in bed for, like, 45 minutes, and then I make that a pattern, and that's what your body is used to, and so breaking that habit can be tough. A lot of people say, like, as soon as the alarm goes off, if you have to wake up from an alarm, you should just get up and not snooze, because it'll make things worse. And personal experience, that's true. And then I found myself doing this so many times where it's like, I really want to snooze, and so I create this whole story in my head where I'm like, oh, I want to snooze, so I must be depressed. Oh, I'm so depressed. Life sucks. I just don't want to get up. And then I talk myself into being depressed enough that I don't get out of bed. Whereas if I just lay there and I'm like, you know what, Lily, you can sleep in, you don't have to make a problem out of this, then I can actually still be in a good functional mood and snooze. I'm a terrible snoozer, but I've heard it's not great for productivity. What can be good for sleeping, and experts are a little bit, they can disagree on this, is napping. Some people say that napping is wonderful for sleep, but you either want to nap for like less than half an hour or more than 2 hours. Otherwise, you're going to get yourself into a middle weird sleep cycle where you have to wake up at a certain time, and you might be in the middle of like REM sleep or a deep sleep, and you just want to avoid that because you'll be in that weird, horrible, I just woke up from an hour-long nap on the weekend and I just can't stand life anymore, if that makes sense. So, what's also very important with sleep is your bedroom, okay? So, when I was going through one of my really bad insomnia bouts, and I went and I bought the melatonin and the magnesium, and I was like literally crying to my friend in the health food store because I was like, I just want to sleep and I can't sleep. And she was just like, ka-ching, 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 ringing me up for the supplements. I mean, it's what I asked her to do, so I can't blame her. But I tried all the supplements and it just wasn't working, and then a hurricane hit the island, so we ended up boarding up all of our windows. And as the hurricane hit, I was like, okay, I'm going to go lay down for a few minutes and, you know, even though I'm really stressed, I'm going to try to get some sleep. And I fell asleep like a frickin' brick for 13 hours during a hurricane because my room was dark. And that's when I figured out that, like, Lily needs a really dark room for sleeping. And it's not just Lily, it's pretty much all humans. So we have street lights that shine right into our darn room, and then people's headlights going down the road shine into our bedroom, so it's really important for me to have an eye mask. And I recommend either that or like blackout curtains are probably more ideal, but I like to have breeze coming through my room, so the curtains aren't ideal. So I have this, I guess I could show it to you guys, but I don't want to leave. Levi bought them. It's like for hiking. It can be a headband. It can go around your neck as a bandana. You can like pull it up over your face and cover your face. But I fold it over a couple times and put it over my eyes. And it ends up covering my eyes and my ears. Because apparently there are light receptors inside your ear holes too. Who knew? And that tends to be enough for me to be able to sleep really well. And I might wake up in the night and it's, you know, moved up and gotten stuck on my bun. But I just pull it back down, and that seems to work pretty well. It's also nice because unlike curtains, I can then be exposed to bright sunlight coming through the windows when I wake up in the morning, which really helps me wake up in the morning, okay? Other sources of light that are really important are like alarm clocks and phones, like if your phone is charging and it has a light shining out. It's good advice in general, I think, to just keep your phone out of the bedroom as much as possible, because that's the other culprit for light, is you get your phone and it's shining these bright, it's like bright blue light at your eyes, and that just stops melatonin production. It just stops the melatonin production. And that's not a good thing. So as much as possible, don't look at your phone for like at least 30 minutes before bed, right? An hour or two would be more ideal. For all of you guys on the East Coast of the United States watching this, you are totally screwed. I'm sorry I did that to you. I set you up to fail. But in the future, as much as you can, don't look at the phone, right? Don't look at any screen, really. There's the other thing that, like, we're looking at this and it's exciting and I want to see what's next, and you get all excited and hyped up. And that's the other thing that can really screw with your melatonin production is cortisol, stress, right? Because apparently cortisol and melatonin, two hormones, they have an inverse relationship. So the higher your cortisol is, the lower your level of melatonin. So this is how you would wake up in the morning. High cortisol, low melatonin. As the day goes by, they'll eventually switch places until you reach bedtime where your cortisol is low and your melatonin is high, right? Yeah, and Lucy just brought up the app that you can download on your computer so that it produces different variations of light that doesn't mess with your melatonin. So, when you get all worked up, your cortisol tends to go up. This is the other thing that can really mess with your sleep, and that's hating your spouse. And every time you see them, you get freaking stressed out about it. Think about that, you know? Things to think about. So, why does that crack me up, hating your spouse? So, it can be helpful throughout the day that when you wake up, you do things that naturally bring your cortisol levels naturally high. So like exercise first thing in the morning can be great because that naturally spikes your cortisol, gets it to boost, and then it can slowly go down throughout the day as melatonin rises up getting ready for bed. That can also be why exercising before bed isn't a great thing, right? Because exercise increases your stress hormone cortisol, lowering melatonin. Exercise can also increase body temperature, and when you go to sleep, your body drops in temperature slightly, but it's necessary. So if you've exercised or if you're especially hot, you're probably not going to sleep very well. And so having like a nice cool room can be great too. We, have a good overhead fan in our room. It's pretty much always on. It can be helpful. Another thing that can help is like, even though I like the room to be cool, but I like to be snuggled under a blanket. And so a nice heavy weighted blanket can be really beneficial for some people. Levi hates having a heavy blanket on top of him. He feels like he's suffocating. I love it. I want to be like smushed and compressed and safe underneath my blankets. So I have a good heavy blanket. I know that they actually sell weighted blankets now, which sound pretty cool. I don't know if I'll spend money on it, but it's an interesting idea for those of us that want that and have extra money laying around. But, yeah. So, we covered exercise, cortisol, melatonin. The last thing I'll talk about is your bedtime routine. And experts call this sleep hygiene. Doesn't have anything to do with how clean you are when you go to bed. It has to do with the cleanliness of your routine. So like I was saying earlier, your body needs routine. It likes cues so that it knows what time it is. It's your circadian rhythm. It gets cued by environmental factors. So circadian rhythm states, and you can't get away from your circadian rhythm. You can't cheat it. Because like bacteria, single-celled bacteria that live in the ocean, like they have a circadian rhythm too. This is Evolution 101 kind of stuff, right? So, circadian rhythm, you wake up in the morning, get some bright light into your eyeballs. Go outside. That's the best way to do it. Getting some bright light throughout the day, so like noontime, the light is right above you, your body sees it, it senses where the sun is, it's super bright, it knows, okay, so we're about at midday. As we get towards evening time and dusk, the sun starts going down, and it's beautiful, and your body sees that, and it cues your circadian rhythm. All right, we're starting to wind down. At about this time of night, as the sun goes down, your stomach becomes much less active. So that's why it can be a smart idea for sleep and digestive comfort in general to eat before the sun goes down, so that you can actually, so that your stomach can have processed that food well before you lay down and go horizontal and then sleep on a full stomach, because we all know that that's not great. So, your circadian rhythm, once the sun is down and it's dark, like that's when you should go to bed. And what do? We flip on a bunch of lights. And then we watch TV or we look at our phones with these bright screens coming into our eyes, and it screws with everything. So, ideally speaking, we would just get rid of electricity, and we would go to sleep when the sun goes down, and just tell our bosses and our spouses and our kids that have to do their homework, like, tough shit, babe, I'm going to bed. That's, I don't know, I don't think it's gonna work. We'll see. But trying to respect your circadian rhythm as much as possible, and just giving your body the cues that are really helpful. So bright sunshine first thing in the morning, bright sunshine around noontime, and then as the sun starts going down, make sure just try to work with your biology, because we can work with our biology and things can be a lot easier, or we can fight against it and we end up struggling a lot and getting into this like biological fight that we can't really win. We can't really win. Okay. I'm going to try to catch up on some of y'all's questions. Crystal says getting up and getting into her workout clothes, even though she's not a morning person, helps her to get motivated and wake up easier. I see how that works, yeah. I used to be like a first thing, I would wake up and, put my sports bra on, and that's how I would start the day. Now, I've kind of, like, I'm gonna do a workout routine update video soon, guys, but it's kind of shameful how lazy I have gotten. I'm still working out, like, several times a week, but I mostly just wake up in the morning now, and then I just walk around naked for like 3 hours. And I'm not saying that to try to, tantalize anyone, but I do my dry brushing, and then I just procrastinate taking a shower for a while, and I think that this is what happened, when I stopped having a normal job as much. Maybe I need to get another job. But I think that's a good advice. Yeah, so Mariella brings up a good point. Where she lives, the sun goes down at 5 p.m. in winter. And I remember that. I remember being in Washington State and Maine, and it's like I felt like when I was growing up in Maine, I would get off the bus and then I'd have to like run home before the sun went down. It's, 2 p.m. It's just ridiculous. The sun goes down. What are you supposed to do? So that's not ideal, and that's, I don't know. I don't think humans should live away from the equator, but again, good luck with that one. So what I would do, and what I have done in the past is, obviously you're going to be using lighting, because, it's like you have to cook and stuff. So try to use some bright-ish lighting until you get to the point of like 6 or 7 p.m. and then maybe try to switch over to just gentle lighting. Like, I don't know if you can see it, but my favorite lighting in the world are my paper lanterns like that. And those paper lanterns, in combination with like a warm light kind of bulb, puts out a really nice warm gentle light, and that will encourage your body to stay on that proper circadian rhythm. And if I remember when I lived in winters, I didn't have as much problem sleeping in winter as I did in the summertime. Just because, I don't know, winter is depressing, and I actually sleep so well when I'm depressed. It's the best sleep I ever get, because I'm just like, maybe I won't wake up in the morning. Here's hoping. And then I just fall into this deep, restful sleep. It's ridiculous. It's when I'm like happy and like, yeah, I'm gonna succeed at life. And then I stay up, oh my god, what if I don't succeed in life? How do you correct extreme sleep dysregulation? Sleeping 12 hours during the day and cannot wake up early. Well, and it could be that it's a hormonal issue. And one of those hormonal issues, you know, it's like what came first, the chicken or the egg, and trying to detangle all of the causes of hormones like exercise and sleep and lifestyle and thought processes and environmental exposures to contaminants and genetics. It's like, it's difficult. I would try to get evaluated by your doctor. Like, you can just talk to your doctor and be like, I'm having some trouble sleeping. They'll probably ask you some inane questions, which may or may not be helpful. You can ask them, you know, can we run a blood panel, see how my hormones are doing, see if I'm, you know, significantly deficient in anything. And if you can get kind of like a baseline of information there, then it'll be a lot easier to troubleshoot what could be causing that much sleep need, you know? I will also say that when I was recovering from adrenal fatigue and hypothyroid, I would pass out for like 16 hours in a row. And I would wake up and go to work and then get back home and pass out again. And I was exhausted, and it was months of that. And, you know, my mom was telling me that there's something severely wrong with you. And all of my friends and family were just like, that's too much sleep. Like, there's something really wrong with you. And it's just over and over. But I knew in the depths of my soul that I needed that sleep. So I just did it. And then slowly the amount that I was asleep became less and less. And now I'm on, like, you know, 8 or 9 hours a night, and I'm solid. So sometimes, if you're healing from something, that can be really beneficial to just allow yourself the space to sleep without being paranoid that there's something wrong with you. Because that paranoia and worry, it's not good for your hormones. Olivia says, I'm trying to become a flight attendant and the hours are extremely irregular. How can you maintain some form of regularity with a hectic schedule? Yeah, that's a really good question. And it comes into like, it's like the shift work in general as well. You know, like a lot of nurses, they have to work 3 nights a week and they're just up all night. And then the other days, they have a more regular schedule. And I know with a lot of flight attendants, especially international flight attendants, you have to be awake for like, you know, at least 12 or 15 hours or 36. I don't know exactly sure how long, but, you know, day and a half. And then you land and your circadian rhythm and biological clock is totally jacked because you're in a new place, and then you get back on a plane and do it all over again. So things that you can try doing, I would definitely recommend getting some of those herbs that we discussed earlier. So like the kava kava, the valerian, the tart cherry juice to help you produce that melatonin, the passion flower, something like that, some chamomile and lavender tea, hops, kava kava, that kind of stuff. And you can find a lot of like sleep promoting blends in both Chinese, traditional Chinese herbs, as well as like other herbal shops and health food stores offer a lot of those things. Now, that is, those herbs are mostly safe most of the time. If you want more details, consult with a qualified herbalist or do your own research as far as that. But doing something where you have some kind of supplement, herbal preferably, or straight up melatonin if you can't travel with the tart cherry juice or pills or something like that, and be able to kind of kick your body into gear. So like when it gets to the point where you have to sleep, like this is your window to sleep, and then you can just kind of like herbally drug yourself up, induce sleep, do your best to sleep for as long as you can, make sure the room is like totally dark and blah 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 blah, and then kind of try to force your body into that habit. But like I said earlier, like you can't hijack your circadian rhythm, really. You can try to manipulate it a little bit and do your best, but it's going to be a bit of an issue for sleep. The shift work is always a bit of an issue for sleep, but if that's the passion that you want to pursue and that's the career that you're really excited about, then you'll make it work and you'll do your best and just be, stellar about taking care of yourself otherwise, making sure that you're hydrated and eating well and being kind to yourself. Okay, I hope that will help you out, and congratulations on becoming a flight attendant. That's awesome. Someone saw a spirit in the mirror? Yeah, probably. I won't say no to that. Alright, tips on getting off your phone before bed. Just fucking do it already. Like, I know, I'm one of those people, like, oh, I'll just look at one more Instagram post, just one more video on YouTube, and then, just throw it. There's some times when I literally have to wrestle Levi's phone out of his gigantic hands, and then he gets, mad at me. Whatever. Tips on getting sleep in college. Jocelyn, gosh, that's a good question. Okay, guys, I didn't go to college. So, I don't know what kind of tips I can give you, because I just, totally fucking failed. And we can talk about why I didn't go to college before. We can talk about it at another time, but, college is one of those things that I'm kind of unimpressed with, especially, the higher echelons of college, where you are required to do, so much work and cramming that it's actually bullshit. Especially the students that have to work at the same time, who are trying to work their way through college so they're not saddled with insane debt afterwards. Society has really set you guys up to just be, broken down by the time you graduate. It's complete bullshit. Priorities. Because it's all the cramming and stuff in college too. I know that there's also a lot of beer pong. And I know we want to socialize, and I know, we don't want to be the weirdo who doesn't drink alcohol, and, everybody makes fun of them. It's I know we don't want to be that person, but if health is a priority, you're gonna have to sleep. And if sleep is a priority, you're gonna have to, not go out and party all night as much as possible. Also keep in mind that cramming for tests by staying up all night isn't the most effective way to learn, because your brain processes stuff when it's sleeping and stores new information, so it's best if you get a good night's sleep the day before a major exam or something like that. Does studying in your room rewire your brain into believing that your room isn't for sleep? Calder and Scale. That is a good question and something that I meant to talk about. Ideally speaking, your bedroom would be for sleeping. That is why, the project that I was talking about earlier that I'm working on, we are designing and looking at building a house on our other property, right? So I'm drawing up the designs, and Levi's like, why are the bedrooms so small? Why are the bedrooms small? And I'm like, it's because we're sleeping in the bedrooms. You don't need to do anything else in the bedrooms. You sleep. That's what you do, right? So, Your question is correct. Research indicates that, like, if you study while you're in your bedroom or when you're laying in your bed, your brain gets into the habits of being active. And that's, again, like, your brain loves routine. Whatever you do regularly, it will get better at doing. So if you regularly study in your bed, then you go to lay down and your brain is like, study time. So I understand that, you know, people in dorm rooms, or if you're living with your parents and you just can't stand your family, so you want to stay in your room, like, I get that. It's not an ideal situation. You'll probably be fine. But if you are in your bedroom studying, I would advise being in a position that's, like, not laying on your bed in the same position or close to the same position in which you would be sleeping. I would advise you, like, do something, sit up, be at a different angle, be looking at a different part of your room, something like that. Oh, I saw someone said you're wrong. Are you talking to me? Are you? I might block you for that. You never know. How do I correct falling asleep at 6 a.m. and waking up mid-afternoon? Alpaca lepitit? Is that how you say that? I assume that's a fake name. If so, sorry. For making fun of that. I see we have a night owl here. Oh, it's French. Okay. I apologize. That was shitty of me. Le Petit. Okay, that makes sense. The T is silent. I have a French name, and I macerate that as well. Okay. Yeah, night owl problems. So, experts say to do it slowly, right? So they say that there's a little bit of wiggle room on your circadian rhythm, and if you've gotten yourself into that habit, you have a little bit of wiggle room on either side, where, like, one night you can try going to bed at 4 a.m. and waking up a couple hours earlier, and then after a night or two you can try going to bed at 2 a.m. and then waking up a couple hours earlier, and then slowly do that until you're on a schedule that is more to your liking and makes you feel a little bit more like, you know, human being, like the rest of us who are just, like, getting up in the morning, like, yeah, anyway. I think being alive and conscious in the mornings, I feel like that is the most magical time of the day. It's a wonderful thing, you know, with all the birds waking up and the sunrise and the light is just unlike anything else. Ooh, what are my thoughts on people who drink moderate amounts of coffee at certain times, don't drink past? Yeah, coffee and caffeine. That is definitely a problem. Research indicates that, like, people who drink 1 to 2 small cups of coffee a day early in the day are usually fine with the caffeine as far as being able to sleep later. Caffeine and coffee also tends to spike stress hormones just a little bit. So if you drink it first thing in the day when your cortisol is naturally on the rise, then that's fine. What you want to be careful of is drinking caffeine outside of morning time. So some people say anything past noon is a no-go. Some people say past 2 p.m. is a no-no. I tend to err on the side of, like, the earlier the better, and then just stop. For some people, they seem, like, impervious to this. Like, Levi's one of those people. He used to get 6 espresso shots in an Americano, and he'd just, like, drink that before bed and be fine. I, like, have 3 sips of green tea first thing in the morning, and I'm wired for 3 days straight. Like, it's a little bit different for everyone, but ideally speaking, you'd be having your caffeine early in the day, not too much of it. Like, you know, I'll just say research indicates, and I would tend to agree, that more than 1 or 2 small cups of coffee in a day could pose some problems for you. The other thing you want to think about with coffees and teas, especially caffeinated coffee and real tea, you know, like black, green, white teas. Those are the real teas. Real, because they're made out of the tea plant. Okay. They can inhibit the absorption of certain nutrients, especially minerals like iron and calcium and magnesium. So if you're drinking coffee and then having like a big green smoothie 5 minutes later, you're going to mess up your absorption a little bit. So I would say like coffee first thing in the morning or somewhere around then. And then wait like half an hour or an hour before you have a nice nutrient-dense breakfast. But, you know, everybody's sensitivities are a little bit different. Okay. Yeah. And Miss Le Petit, she brings up as well that coffee and caffeine in general is really bad for people with adrenal burnout issues. I know as one of them, just can't handle it at all. It messes with your fluid balance. It messes with your stress hormones. It's better, I mean, I say like it's better if you can avoid it. Like you can avoid coffee and tea if you really put your mind to it. Red Hat Gnome says I have 1 to 2 big cups of coffee a day, and I love it. I know, coffee is so good. Like, I love the taste of coffee. I love it so much. But it does not love me back. Yeah, working at night is tough. I'd say, like, I understand people do shift work sometimes. If you can avoid it, do. It just makes life easier. Why do friends insist on drinking coffee after 5 p.m.? Yeah, dude. Friends don't get it. Okay. Britt Lynn says, my boyfriend likes to watch TV when we go to sleep, but it's hard for me to sleep without him. If I just put in earplugs, will my sleep quality improve, or should I wear an eye mask too? Yeah, so since there's light associated with the TV, I would suggest getting eye mask, and then earplugs would be good too, because they'll help to block out the sound as well as helping with those like photoreceptors. And it's like the flickering light that you get with TV or other screens that is particularly stimulating. So as much as possible, like, shield yourself from that. It can be tough with the eye masks though. Boyfriends. When I first met Levi, he would fall asleep with the TV on every night, too. I was like, that shit's gonna stop. It was interesting. I assume he doesn't mind me sharing, because he's talked about it before, but when we first met, Levi was, he was dealing with some addiction issues, and, definitely drinking a lot, and he would, using some substances that get you high, and then he would have to, like, drink a bunch of alcohol to get himself tired enough to fall asleep, and then he'd, pass out at 2 a.m. and then have to wake up at 6 a.m. for work, and it's not a good look. So when I came back to the island and we were starting, like, an actual relationship beyond, like, a vacation hookup, he was trying to get his sleep schedule back, but because of the addiction issues, he was coming off alcohol, he could not sleep. So he ended up, like, self-medicating with ZQuil, which is like NyQuil, but without the cold medicine, right? And he would just, like, knock himself out with that every night for months. And, I told him, like, there might be some more natural ways that you can try. Like, I totally support you in being sober. So this is, right now, one of the most important things that you can do to be sober and take good care of yourself and reset your clock. So that's fine. And I'll support you if and when you're ready to, like, taper off of this stuff. So he came off of that stuff, and he never did really need, like, the supplemental herbs and stuff to help him sleep. He just got back into a better routine. And we got him eating really well and getting the nutrition that he needed, and he was able to kind of revamp his sleep cycle. I forgot what the original question was. But, oh yeah, boyfriends and habits. But boyfriends can change. And habits can change, and, you can always accidentally break the TV. I'm kidding. What about hitting the gym and eating close to bedtime? You want to break all the rules, do you? When I was younger, and still to this day, like, going running at night is one of my favorite things to do. You just, like, you can dart around the streets and weave in and out of places like a frickin' covert gazelle. Like, I love it. I love running at night. It's so invigorating, and it's nice and cool. But it does heat up your body, right? It heats up your body. And when your body is hot, you tend not to sleep as well, because the natural thing is for your temperature to go down as you go to sleep. So, experts say that if you are going to work out, try to do it like 3 hours before you're planning to go to bed to let your body come back to normal temperature. Also, like cold water showers after a workout can be helpful to bring your temperature back down. And then eating after a workout. People's digestive efficiency is different. So, if I eat right before I go to bed, I'm going to be miserable and have indigestion and not sleep well, and my stomach's going to hurt. Levi pretty much always has a 4th meal before he goes to bed, because he sleeps better if he has a little something in his stomach. And if he doesn't eat before bed, he ends up waking up in the middle of the night starving. So, I mean, I don't think it's the best thing for him, especially when it comes to, like, weight loss or, maybe sleep quality. I'm not even sure with that. But a lot of experts advise against it, eating at night. I'm going to let that be something that you can reflect on as far as how it's affecting your body personally, and be open and aware of the fact that that might change over time. You know, our bodies can change over time. So, like, you know, a couple of years ago, I might have been able to do something, but my body has slowly gotten away from that, and it might change for you, right? Jas Hunt says cherries before bed. She heard those are good. I'm sorry, I'm not sure if you're, I don't mean she necessarily. I feel like I put my foot in my mouth 35,000 times trying to say your guys' names. Anyway. Yes, tart cherry juice is, it makes melatonin go up naturally, right? And melatonin is the hormone that your body produces, that you could supplement with, but it's not ideal. It makes you feel sleepy, right? So tart cherry juice at night can help you sleep about half an hour before you go to bed. Yeah, food before bed is... It's like some people love it, some people don't. All my boyfriends have eaten in the middle of the night. Like, you lucky fuckers. I wish I could sleep. I wish I could eat more and sleep more. I just want to eat and sleep all the time. It's the best. Yeah. Crystal also brings up, she says that she can't sleep if there's a TV on or music on, but she cannot sleep without the sound of a fan. And yes, it's like that ambient noise. I mean, it helps keep you cool too, but it's the ambient noise really helps a lot of people. And again, that has to do a lot with routine, what your body is used to. So like if, over here, you guys have probably heard the noises at night. We have the coqui frogs, which are just like insanely loud. Especially, they live in the palm trees right outside our window, and it's like sometimes I wake up and it's hurting my ear. They're so freaking loud. But I couldn't sleep with them when I first moved here. Now I go over to Kona side or somewhere dry where there are no coquis, and I'm like, I can't sleep. Why is it so quiet? Because I need my coqui frogs. So some people do really well with the white noise. Some people don't. Someone recommend to slap someone? Oh, I have a partner who snores What can I do? It wakes me up. It's so loud. Alright, it's your partner's responsibility to try to, like, frickin' take care of that, okay? My mom used to snore really loud. And I was like, Mom, please, stop smoking cigarettes and drinking Coca-Cola and eating so much bacon, and I'll be more understanding of the snoring thing. But while you're participating in those behaviors, I just can't. I cannot handle it. I used to go into her room sometimes, and she'd be sleeping and snoring, and I would just, like, push her really fast and then run away. I used to have a dog that snored, too. Yeah. I will never get a smush-faced dog again. The barking is cute. But, so, snoring, I've heard that the strips work. They have, like, sleep machines. Position can be really helpful, making sure that if you're sleeping on your back, you don't have a pillow under your head. Although I heard some people say that they need a pillow under their head in order not to sleep, in order not to snore. It's shit, snoring, man. But I think your partner needs to be proactive about that. Which brings us to another topic that I'd like to address. I started thinking about this more when I was watching or listening to the Rich Roll podcast, because he talks about, he sleeps on his roof in Malibu, California. I guess it doesn't torrentially downpour like it does here, but he sleeps out on his roof because it's nice and cold, and that is how he sleeps the best. His wife, sleeps in their bedroom because that's where she sleeps the best. And he talks about kind of breaking the stigma of couples who are together but sleep separately, because they sleep best in under different conditions, like the girl, shucks, I forgot the name of who asked, but the girl with the boyfriend who sleeps with the TV on. She says that she doesn't sleep so well without him, so I understand that, but sleeping in separate places, if that's what feels good. Like, Levi, I've talked about him so much today. Sorry, Levi. He's a funny sleeper. He had back surgery, so he has a fusion in his back, which can cause quite a bit of back pain. So it's like, we tried having a soft mattress. Sometimes it feels good, sometimes you'd have really bad pain. We had a hard mattress for a while. Sometimes it felt good, sometimes it hurt him. He tried sleeping on the couch. Sometimes it felt good, sometimes it hurt him. You get the point. So, Levi usually falls asleep with me in the bedroom on our nice, hard, firm mattress. And then he wakes up in the middle of the night, and he might put our old mattress down on the floor, the really soft one. He might sleep on that for a while. Then he'll switch to the couch. Then he'll go back to the other mattress, and eventually he shows up back in our bedroom at some point. You never really know, right? So, I mean, it's not that we don't love each other, and I like sleeping next to him just fine. I'm unconscious, but whatever, But he sleeps better without me sometimes. And that's, like, separate. I don't think it's a terrible thing, It's sweet to think about having this relationship with your soulmate and you guys are just, like, inseparable, but it's not always the best for your health. Yeah, Black Amethyst, she just got back from a vacation to the Big Island. She agrees with me about the frogs. They are insane. The Shadow Bee brings up that the snoring could be caused by sleep apnea, which is absolutely correct. That's why I think your dude should talk to his doctor and see what might be going on. Yeah. And, Crystal brings up the good mattress and pillow makes a difference for sleep, snoring, and spinal alignment, yeah? And that's, people say, like, good mattress. I'm like, what does that mean? Because I always slept on, my favorite mattresses are futons. with memory foam on top, because they're very firm, but you get a little bit of squish. And that has always been my ideal mattress. I moved in with Levi, and let me just say that part of the reason, I know I've been asked this before, like, Levi, it sounds like he was a shit show when you guys met. Like, why did you want to be with him, and why did you come back and move to Hawaii and pursue a relationship with this guy? One of the biggest reasons, it was because he had the nicest bed I had ever slept on. It was like this beautiful, cushy memory foam bed, you know, clearly expensive. And I was like, this guy can't be all bad. Like, he has the best bed ever. There's potential inside this man. Like, I see him reaching for better, higher quality things. And I respect that. So, anyway, we had that bed for a while. It kind of started to get too squishy. And then, here's the other thing. Shit, I keep oscillating. I'm sorry. But here's the other thing about sleeping with your partner. Okay? I wasn't sleeping well for so long. And I couldn't figure out why. Until Levi started sleeping on the couch sometimes. And I started sleeping like a frickin' dream goddess of a brick, you know? And I realized it was because when he lays on the bed, he's almost twice as big as me, and he depresses the entire bed to the point that I'm always rolling towards him. And so I realized I was having to put my arm out and brace myself the whole time I was sleeping so that I didn't collapse into his hot body. And I say that not as in like, ooh, he's hot. It's like he's literally steaming hot when he sleeps, and I can't be near it. And so when we got the new mattress that's really firm, it's like this much really hard foam on top of a wooden platform. You know, he can lay there and move and I don't feel anything and I'm not going anywhere and I sleep like a dream, you know? So that's the other thing about sleeping with your partner. Like, sometimes they just disturb you, you know? And I was thinking, okay, well, maybe if we buy a new mattress in the future, we should get 2 twin mattresses so that we don't disturb each other. But, you know, then you have to deal with middle crack. And nobody wants to deal with middle crack. Oh. Jazz Hunt says she can never sleep away from her boyfriend even if he snores. That's sweet. L.R. Hurst. Good to see you again. Thanks for showing up. She says, do I use my Fitbit to track my sleep? Oh, my Fitbit. I don't know if we've talked about this very much before, but I have such a love-hate relationship with that frickin' Fitbit. It's ruined my life in a lot of ways. In other ways, it's great. Like, I love being able to see my sleep cycles. So sometimes I track it, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I lie awake staring at it, paranoid about the frickin' Wi-Fi electromagnetic field radiation that it's exposing me to. Sometimes the Fitbit won't sync to my Fitbit app, and I sit there in the morning getting increasingly frustrated, screaming at my phone to sync. Damn it, sync. And, I do track it sometimes. It's a little unsatisfying because I can be in bed for, 9 or 10 hours, and then it tells me that I was awake or restless 350 million times that night, and it drives me crazy, and then tells me I only got 8 hours of sleep. But, oh, you like how it vibrates in the morning? I thought I would love that, but I don't. I get really mad at it. I get mad at anything that tries to wake me up. Petunia always comes up to me in the morning and, like, licks my nose, and I'm like, back off. Oh, thanks for showing up, Kai. Bye. Yeah, Red Hat Gnome says she'd feel way or I would feel way too compulsive with a Fitbit. It is, like, it makes me feel kind of compulsive. And some days I'll go, like, 15,000 steps, and some days I only do 3,000, and it makes me feel like a failure. Thank you, Priest Kikyo. I'm sorry, gosh. How to feel less lethargic upon waking, even when you've had 8 to 10 hours of sleep. Laura, that is a good question. I feel this sometimes too, and I'm not sure if it's lethargic or just dreading having to wash the dishes again. I was talking about this earlier. You know, I wake up, and then I kind of try to, like, talk myself into allowing myself to stay in bed longer because, you know, let's just be honest. Rolling around in bed in a state of relaxation just feels blissful. And I could probably call it lethargy, and that would be correct. But, it's blissful, and it's, to be perfectly honest, it is one of my favorite things in the world. And when I fight against my natural inclination to be a roll around in bedder, I end up making myself kind of miserable. So I've been letting myself do that a little bit and kind of feel lethargic for a while. And I understand that you might be talking about lethargy in a sense that that it does feel more physically based. But I think it's good to be honest at the same time about what our natural inclinations are and what really feels good. And rolling around in bed brings me a lot of joy and happiness and a sense of contentment, and my God, like, that is the time of the day when my body feels the best, and I just love laying there and enjoying it, okay? If you do want to be better about waking up, I think I've found with experience, like, it helps to have something to wake up looking forward to. You probably notice it even when you were a kid, like, on the days where something really fun was going to happen. Like, you woke up like that, and you got ready, and, you know, you just woke up and you were alert and ready for the day. Lethargy in the morning is really commonly associated with depression, and I understand that because if you don't have much that you're looking forward to in the day, it is... like, why would you want to get out of bed? It just makes sense. Like, on the days when I wake up and I'm like, I literally have to clean the whole house and do the dishes again and just work all day. Like, I don't want to get out of bed. That's unpleasant. If I wake up and I try to be a little bit more focused on specific goals, like, I'm going to wake up today and I'm going to do this one video, you know, and I'm just going to focus on getting this one thing done. I'm not going to stress out about the rest of the huge to-do list that I am failing at. You know, I'm just going to focus on this one thing, and if I accomplish that, that's great. Or I'm going to wake up today and the first thing I'm going to do today is I'm going to go out and I'm going to go sit outside for a little bit with my plant. Or I'm just going to sit with my puppy dogs for a few minutes. Then that, having one thing that's simple and not pressurized to focus on when I wake up can be really helpful in kind of beating that, like, depressive lethargy that I think comes with trying and never getting enough done, which I think is something most of us struggle with. Does that make sense? I saw someone used the phrase lethargy of spirit, and I think that is probably appropriate in a lot of ways. Also, you know, we've been talking for like 64 minutes right now. We've talked a lot about diet and nutrition and, you know, supplementing and making sure that you're eating a good diet and taking good care of yourself, and that is important. Exotic Parallel says, What do I think about sleep apps, like sleep cycles? Are they accurate? That's a good question, and to be perfectly honest, it's kind of hard to tell because, you know, they promote their own accuracy based on their own data and their own studies, and I haven't seen, I mean, I haven't necessarily been looking at it, but I haven't seen any information from, like, scientific literature that's indicating whether or not these are accurate. I mean, like, the Fitbit senses when you move and it watches your pulse, right? And that's how it indicates what sleep cycle you're likely in. I would say that you can pay attention to the data and take it into account, but just be mindful about how compulsive you get about it, how obsessed you get with it. It's easy to do, right? Miss Le Petit says again, anyone feel like smashing your alarm? Every day. Every day. I hate alarms. I had like an alarm on my Fitbit for 6:15 for like a year. Woke up pissed off every day. Tried the same alarm on my phone. It woke me up to gentle birds chirping, and it made me hate birds. So I can't do the freaking alarms. I usually wake up anyway, and Levi wakes me up before he goes to work, so. Yeah. Olivia, girl, I feel you. She says she moved back to her hometown and she hates it so much. She can't get out of bed at her house. Yeah. I feel you there, man. It's like, when I was living with my mom, and if I go back to visit my mom, like, suddenly that lethargy and depression and all the hypothyroid symptoms show up again. So I think a lot of our experiences of these, you know, physical problems are to do with emotional stuff, man. C. Jenkins, that's Cynthia, right? If I remember correctly from Instagram. She literally spends her entire day counting down to when she can go back to bed. Yeah, I've been there, done that. Shit, is that a terrible thing? Like, sleeping is wonderful, and you get to dream and relax. Like, I don't think it's all that wrong. Eugene says, how can I take pressure off my lower lumbar spine when I sleep? Something that can be really effective is propping up your legs with, I like yoga bolsters. They're like, I actually use one to sleep with sometimes. I prop my leg up on the side with it, but yoga bolsters are these long, rectangular, really firm pillows, and it can be really helpful to put that underneath your knees so that you have a slight bend in your knees, and that'll help to take some pressure off of the lumbar spine. Thank you, Crystal. I'm glad that helps, or sounds good to you. Okay. Lewis says, it's dark. Open the window. Sorry, it was my cell phone that was not very bright. That's okay. It is getting a little darker because we have, like, the sun is over on the other side of the house now. Have I tried lucid dreaming? Oh, exotic parallel. I have tried so many times. Oh, I struggle with, like, the meditation and the lucid dreaming and, like, consciousness stream stuff. Levi is really good at that kind of stuff. I'm not so much. I'm so stuck in my head. And I tell you what, most of my dreams are me doing laundry. I dreamed the other night that I was editing a video for, like, 8 hours. And then I woke up and, of course, nothing was done. I dream all the time about trying to go to the grocery store, but I can't find my keys, and then I need my sunglasses. I have a lot of dreams about trying to pack for a flight that I'm late for. Dreams where my teeth fall out a lot. I would love to get myself to a point where you know, anxiety and worry is not as much a part of my brain as it has been for the majority of the rest of my life, and to the point where, like, lucid dreaming and stuff. I've gotten to the point a couple times where I can be in a dream state, and I'm like, I'm dreaming, okay, yes, and then try to do stuff. I've also done some astral projection stuff, some of it purposefully, some of it on accident, where I literally just, like, slip out of my body, and then I go up onto my roof, and then I freak out and quickly get sucked back into my body, right? We talked about in a live stream a while back about dreams that I had where there was, like, an extraterrestrial involved, and that, like, I was awake, but we'll call it a dream, just for everyone's comfort, right? But it happens. And it seems to me like the more purposeful I get about it, the harder it is for me to actually do it, because I pressurize it. It's awesome that you're able to do it, though. That's so cool. Yeah, how do you astral project without negative effects? It's like sleep paralysis. It's really scary. It is scary. And I've heard some people in the spiritual world be like, oh, if you astral project, you could get lost and then a demon could possess your body. But I don't know. I don't know about that. Sleep paralysis is just what happens to your body. It's like, you know, you're dreaming, so your body naturally gets paralyzed so that you can't flail around and hurt yourself. So sleep paralysis is scary for sure, but if you can try to be aware of the fact that, like, okay, it's just sleep paralysis, it's not forever, I'm gonna be okay, then that can help. I do have some friends who, like, they say that they wake up in the night and, you know, there's something sitting on their chest, or, like, a ghost standing beside their bed or something, and it's, like, it's really scary for them. Some of that, there is some, you know, physical explanation for that feeling or that vision. I'm just as inclined to believe the physical explanation as I am that, like, there actually could be some sort of spirit or something in the room with you. So, I mean, I won't say anything one way or the other about that, but, yeah, like, this girl here, she says, Miss Le Petit, she says, it's so hard. I see screaming voices. She hears screaming voices, yeah. I've heard things like really, really loud banging when I wake up if I have sleep paralysis. I've seen things in sleep paralysis that were pretty frightening. You know, you just feel unsafe and out of control, and, like, it can be really intense, but, I've also had a lot of people who are, like, a little bit more spiritually and psychically inclined than I am, who have said that they see and hear, you know, scary things, but you can intend to protect yourself, and you can say things like, you will not touch me. And because you're physically here in this physical body, and you're a strong presence because of that physicality, their ability to hurt you is really insignificant, especially if your intention is there. So try to, like, just try to be aware. 3:30 a.m. or 3:33. Sounds like you might be getting some messages from the other side, girl. Crystal, that sounds like a nice experience with meditation, though. She says that she feels like she's in another place and not in her body during meditation. And I've had some similar experiences of that, where you just, like, start to dissociate from your physical body a little bit, and it could be a nice feeling. Now we're getting into some interesting conversation. Carrie says, did you apologize to Levi for the Instagram pics? No, not yet. Levi's still at work, so to the best of our knowledge, he doesn't know about them yet. He'll probably see them tonight, and I didn't tag him in it or anything, so it'll be fine. He should be more responsible, though, and not nap so much and look so cute. There are also times where I'm like, you know, I picked up your kid from school, so you don't get to get mad at me over this. I was generous. Speaking of which, I have to leave soon and go pick up the kids from school. Oh, Miss Le Petit. We are getting interesting now. She says she sees spaceships when she meditates. Has anyone ever experienced this? I want you to go on YouTube, which I know that you're on YouTube right now, so just open up another YouTube window. Look up the documentary called Sirius, Sirius, by Dr.
I don't see an app called Sirius.
Oh my
You
god.
can try searching the App Store.
How? Siri, what the hell? Stop. No, go away. How do I get rid of Siri? Jeez, okay. Sirius by Dr. Stephen Greer. Okay? I want you to watch that documentary. Because yes, meditation and like having experiences with extraterrestrials during meditation is a normal thing. Some people do it for fun. Seen it, shit. She's seen it. What does it mean? I don't know what it means. Maybe the aliens want to talk to you. So Siri can hear me? I didn't know Siri. Had this iPhone for 2 years, had no idea. Still confused. I don't know how to help you then. Shit. He's a UFO nut. Why are you promoting him? Is he a nut, though? Because, like, I've seen my fair share of UFO nuts, you know, who are like, oh, UFOs, and they break into your house, and they abduct you, and they probe you, and, oh, you know, oh, they're trying to kill you. It's like that guy, that, like, Stan guy who had all the video of the little aliens wandering around his house, and it's like, they came here from another galaxy to peek around your wall and look at you. Like, I don't think so. To, like, pop their head over and look through your window. Thanks. But no thanks. That's like, why would an extraterrestrial do that? What I like about Stephen Greer is that he's not just talking about extraterrestrials. Like, that's interesting and all, but he also discusses, like, free energy and the fact that extraterrestrials exist and are visiting our planet is because certain, you know, the powers that be want to repress the free energy systems that they use to move around and stuff, right? He talks about that, and then he also, I've managed to find a lot of resources of him talking about his spiritual practices and his meditations and his connection to the conscious universe and the, you know, universal consciousness, whatever you want to call it. And that, to me, is beautiful. And so I don't necessarily understand what's nutty about that. To me, it makes sense. Free energy is against the law. And why is it against the law? Perhaps because a lot of people, the laws of physics, I mean, not to my understanding. I am not a physicist, but I question that. I agree. I love this stream. Good, I'm glad you guys are getting what you want. The more you sleep, the more you can have lucid dreams. I figure, you know, we stayed on topic for at least, we stayed on topic for at least an hour. Now we can just get a little batshit crazy here at the end. That's fine with me. Okay, Crystal, thank you for coming. I'm glad you have family movie night. Go have fun. That's beautiful. And thank you for all your awesome questions and participation. That's just... It just gets so great. Marry me. No. I wanted to become an astrophysicist/physicist. How does it go against the law of physics? Oh, now we're getting deep. What am I drinking? I'm just drinking water. It's boring. Out of an old salsa jar. Sorry, it's ugly. I'll turn there now. It's not as ugly. That's a good question. Black Amethyst says, would you say the energy/consciousness, or whatever you want to call it, is different on the Big Island versus the mainland? That's a good question. A lot of people who move here, you know, a lot of us transplants from the mainland, including me, we say like, oh, I came here and the energy was stronger and different than anything I have ever felt before. And I'll definitely say that it's intense, and I have noticed that, like, my ability to manifest, not to get into all that, the secret stuff, but my ability to experience the manifestations of the universe, whatever, is very strong here, in both directions. So if I get into a bad, shitty mood, it's like a torrential downpour of negativity and awfulness is attracted to me, like, immediately, which is so hard. If I'm in, like, a good mood and going with the flow and, like, really tapping into my own yummy woo-woo vibes, like, that's beautiful. It's very powerful. Lots of really powerfully positive things can come to you quickly. But I say that, and it's like, I lived in Washington State on the Olympic Peninsula, and oh my god, it was so powerful there. You're surrounded by mountains and so much beauty, and, like, there's real power there, too. There's, you know, I grew up in the Smoky Mountains. Like, it was powerful. I just don't think I was as in tune with it. Oh, hi, Bipes. Wait, come. Oh, yeah. Petunia, she, like, walks in here all the time just to look at me and then walk away. What I will say is that I feel kind of guilty about this, because, like, I came to the island, and I'm a transplant. I'm not from here. I'm not native to this land. And I take up space here, and I use up resources here, and my presence here puts stress on the housing system. I mean, I live with Levi, so I guess it's not that bad, but I'm a transplant, and I came here for selfish reasons. And realistically, the amount that I give back to the island and to the local community here is, you know, I could do better with it, to be perfectly honest. So my mere presence here, in a way, makes it more expensive and thus more difficult for people who are native to this place to be here. And that is something that I don't think enough white people, especially, like, mainlanders, think of when they think of moving here, which is, they are very small islands, packed full of houses already. There is a housing crisis. These islands are insanely expensive to live on. So people who have lived here for generations can no longer afford to. And that is why Las Vegas hosts one of the largest populations of Native Hawaiians. At this point, it might even be higher than in the islands. I'm not even sure, but, you know, it is a real point of contention with the Hawaiian community, with all of the white people who want to move here with their outside money and buy these big houses and buy up prime agricultural land and then use it as a retreat center for other white people to come here. So that's, when I first moved here, I was very much like, oh, the energy and the beauty and, like, oh, it feels so good in my soul. And honestly, I struggle with the fact of, like, I moved somewhere that, I wasn't invited. So, I don't know. It's hard to contend with for me. I'm still chewing on it, and it's still, yeah. I have hypothyroid. That's a little bit too much right now. Okay. Am I drinking moonshine? I'm drinking water, but nice try. No, it is not reverse osmosis water. It is water out of my Berkey system. You have a good heart, Lily. Yeah, I kind of feel like everybody has a good heart. More people just fight against it. I think that might be fair to say. I try, I try to be aware, yeah, and I really respect other people who are trying to be aware, too. Please continue your posture series. Yes, I know, I'm sorry. Damn. How often do you drink alcohol? My last drink was like 6 years ago. I had a beer at my mom's house, so not often. For Levi is coming up on his, like, I think his 5th anniversary of sobriety is, like, next week. Just to, disclose more personal information about him in this live stream. So, he's on 5 years of sobriety, and I am more than happy to support him in that. If sobriety weren't, like, an important value in our household, I don't know. I don't know if I would bother to spend the money on beer and have some beer every now and then, because I do like the taste of it, but, there's nothing really healthy about alcohol, so it's like, if you're gonna have it, then, I don't know. It's one of those things where I have to, like, argue with people's hedonism, and I just don't like to get into that argument, because it always ends with me, like, standing in the corner, pulling on my hair, going, like, fine, if you want to drink it, just drink it, fine, I don't care, it's not my life. And that's like... Can you show that? Is it okay to have a glass or two of wine once a week? Yeah, I mean, like I just said, it's not necessarily a health food. Sorry, there's a truck going by, you might hear that. It's not necessarily a health food, but once or twice a week. Research indicates it's not going to do too much damage to your body, and as long as you have a liver that works fine, it'll mop it up. It's fine. For someone like me, like, I seem to have, like, slow liver function. It's just, I end up getting a lot of toxic crap coming out of my skin. So for me, I prefer to avoid alcohol because it depresses my ability to detox. But if you're fine with it, then cool. You can show. Shay Marie says, how to stop bloating on a vegan diet and how to eliminate processed foods when you live around it because of family. For the bloating question, I'm going to refer you to a book called Gut Bliss by Dr. Robin Chutkan. I got it from my local library. You might be able to get a hold of it through yours. I also got it on audiobook through my library. So if you can find it, that could be helpful. The causes of bloating are, like, it would take us another 90 minutes just to go through all that. We did talk a lot about bloating and digestive stuff in, I think it was the last live stream that I did. So if you go through my videos, you might be able to find that live stream. That was mostly about digestive health. As far as avoiding processed food when it's around because of family, that's a pain in the ass, and it does take some willpower. Making sure that you are eating enough of the other foods, making sure that you have cooked, prepared, ready, whole plant foods available to you that you can just grab and eat when you're getting one of those processed food cravings, because when you're hungry, willpower goes out the window. If your family's cool about it, you can try to talk to them and be like, hey, it would be helpful if we could, like, keep all this processed food on, you know, like, one shelf, so at least I can try to avoid that, or maybe we can all try to get a little better about this, or maybe just give it a go, or you can keep it in your closet, or whatever. Or you can do what I did and just stop talking to your family. But that's, you know, just me being silly again. Oh god, that's brilliant. I got, like, there's this new thing that automatically holds potentially inappropriate messages, and I love it, but there's this one that said he wants to sleep his dick all over my face. Like, that doesn't even make sense. At least spell check it before you go and say something shitty. Is 1,500 calories a day good for a 15-year-old trying to lose weight? 2,000 seems like too much. I would say 1,500 calories is definitely not enough. You're going to slow your metabolism down. You're going to set yourself up for binging, which usually sets yourself up for, like, purging, which usually, I mean, can end up in an eating disorder. And now I'm just talking from personal experience. So 1,500 calories a day is not enough. I'm going to yap at you until you get up to at least 1,800, depending on your size. I think over 200, 2,200 is even better. You're 15 years old, and you're growing, and you're active, and your metabolism probably isn't very screwed up yet. Try to keep it that way. Don't do what Auntie Lily did and calorie restrict your way to a horrible metabolism and an eating disorder that makes you gain 50 pounds, and then you have to slowly lose it over 5 years, okay? So just do yourself a favor. Eat enough food. Check out my videos, please. I have tons of them. Great information. Stick to whole plant foods. It's beautiful. Okay. Check out 808 Cleanups on Instagram. Maybe you can get involved. Yeah, I'll check them out. Thank you. Thank you, Leilani, for that advice. Oh, God. The guy who said he wants me to sleep his dick then called me a bitch after I called him out. So, that's alright, Joey. We'll just get rid of you. I'm sorry. Should I not have even brought it up? Is it inappropriate? I just should have let it go. Can carbs make you gain weight? So many vegans think the calories don't matter. Yeah, I mean, the calories matter. You can gain weight. It's just much harder with higher carbohydrate foods, but that's why we specify whole carbohydrate foods. Whole plant foods that come with the fiber and the phytonutrients that help to regulate their digestion, so that they're a lot less likely to be turned into body fat. If you start eating stuff like processed carbohydrates, like breads and pastas, especially the white breads and the white pastas, the processed carbs that don't come with fiber, that don't come with many other nutrients, then you're more likely to see weight gain, especially if you combine those processed carbohydrates with processed fats. And then that is a great recipe for gaining weight, especially if there's a caloric excess. Now he's calling me a bitch over and over again. That's alright, you're blocked. Okay. Okay, I'm sorry. Lily, what do you think of bariatric surgery? I think lifestyle changes are much more effective for being able to stop weight gain and reverse weight gain. With bariatric surgeries, you also end up setting yourself up for impeded absorption of nutrients for the rest of your life, which is a concern that I don't think is taken as seriously as it needs to be. You also end up having issues with volumetric regulation of food intake. So if someone has a very, very small stomach, they're then not necessarily able to eat enough whole plant foods in order to get the nutrition that they need. So that's why I like Dr. Garth Davis, who wrote Proteinaholic. He is a bariatric surgeon, and he has a lot of really good information on that. And he talks, too, about, like, it's not a cure-all. A lot of these people do end up gaining the weight back because they don't change what they're eating. They just change how much they're capable of eating for a time. Okay, so I'm going to take one more question, and then I do have to go so I can... Oh, I'm sorry, I do not have time for one more question. I should have left the house 5 minutes ago. Yes, Holly, you're going to have to play it back. I'm sorry, I'm leaving right now. Yeah. Okay. Thank you guys so much for showing up and for asking so many awesome questions. I have, as always, had a blast, though my throat is getting hoarse. Thank you guys so much. I just can't say it enough. I love you guys, and my intent is to be more consistent, but you guys know how that goes. So, thank you. Bye, guys. I'll see you again soon. Oh, and I apologize that there were no other videos this week. I actually filmed all of the videos. It was like 12 plus hours of filming, and then I went to upload everything, like, from the card onto the computer, and I was like, sweet, it's done. Formatted the card. Everything was deleted, and then I checked the files that uploaded, and they were all blank. So, unfortunately, all of my videos and filming were for naught. I refilmed it next week, okay? So sorry. Bye. I'm sorry, Annie. I know you just arrived. I'm sorry. There's 96 minutes. I love you guys. Bye.